Hey everyone, it's Ms. Turnbull here with your Thursday video. Today we are talking about the surface area of rectangular prisms. This is our first three-dimensional shape that we will talk about, but we're going to talk about a number of different three-dimensional shapes for this course. We need to review a couple of terms before we get going, and those are surface area and net. So when we're talking about surface area, this is the combined area of all sides of a three-dimensional object. So if we're talking about a cube, like this one here, then it would be the combined area of all sides of this cube, including the back one that we can't really see. Okay, so all of those sides together give us the cube. Now, when we're talking about a net of a shape, so of a three-dimensional shape, this is what we're talking about. So if we were to take this cube and lay it down flat, what we would get is this cube's net. So we end up with something that looks like this. So there are four sides around, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm just missing the top and the bottom. So we'll just put those in here. You may have seen one of these before in your math class. You may have even glued some of them together to show that you understand how this can become a three-dimensional shape. This is called the net. This is probably a review term for you, but just a reminder, this is a net when we're talking about surface area of a three-dimensional object. So we need to engage our prior knowledge, and our prior knowledge is that if we already know how to find the area of two-dimensional shapes, and if you don't, check out the last video that was on Tuesday. It will help you understand that, review some of the formulas. So if we know how to find the area of two-dimensional shapes, then we can find the surface area of a three-dimensional shape by breaking it down to its component surfaces and adding all of those surfaces together. So we break it down to what surfaces make up this three-dimensional object. Okay, we've got the 6 surfaces here. And then we just add them all together to get our surface area of this cube, okay? Really simple. This is a reminder. We marked your quizzes from last week and noticed a number of errors. A lot of you lost some marks because you weren't showing us your calculations in particular, or you weren't giving us your answer with the correct units. It's really important that you make sure that you're very careful about those things. If we're talking about area, it's squared. Your units must be squared. Volume is cubed. Linear measurements are single. Okay, they're just meters. Area is meters squared. Volume would be meters cubed. So in this case, we're dealing with meters squared or centimeters squared, inches squared, yards squared. Okay, important to remember that. So let's get into some work with these rectangular prisms. Okay, so let's draw our net first, okay? So I'm just gonna quickly draw one. It's not gonna look great, it's okay. I don't have to stress about how it looks. I'm just sketching it so that I can visualize the net of a rectangular prism. And we need to remember this rule about rectangles, okay? A rectangle that is not how you spell rectangle. Hello? A rectangle has 2 pairs of equal but opposite sides. Okay, so when we look at this rectangle as an example, this side here and this side here are opposite to one another and they are equal. This side here and this side here are opposite to one another and they are equal. And when we're talking about a rectangular prism, that's true here. Our front side is opposite to the back side and their area is equal, okay? on our left side and our right side have an equal area, and they are opposite of one another. Our top side and our back side, same thing. They are opposite to one another and they have an equal area. So that means that we can use that information to build a formula. So in order to calculate the surface area of a rectangular prism, we're going to say, okay, surface area equals, we're going to need 2 times, and actually I'm going to use brackets instead, 2 times, for the front, it's length times height, plus 2 times for the left or the right, we're talking about width times height, plus 2 times top, bottom, this is length times width. And we can further simplify this to 2 length times height plus width times height plus length times width. Okay, this is a formula that you can use to solve every problem that has to do with a rectangular prism. You cannot use it for other prisms, all right? But you can use this for rectangular prisms and for cubes. Okay, let's try this out. So this example uses a cube, okay? So this one is 9 by 9. So let's use our formula. SA equals 2 length times height plus width times height plus length times width. And in this case is a cube, so everything's 9. So 2 times 9 times 9, I'm gonna use 2 brackets here, plus 9 times 9 plus 9 times 9. Okay, so this is 2 times 81 plus 81 plus 81. So 81 plus 81 plus 81. No, just equals, thank you, is 243. And then we need to multiply that by 2, 486. And this is in square yards, okay? Our surface area equals 486 square yards. That's our answer, okay? See how this formula works. Let's try this formula again, but this time with a rectangular prism. Okay, so this one here is a rectangular prism. And again, our surface area formula is going to equal 2 times, and it doesn't matter really what order these go in, length times width plus length times height plus width times height. Okay, but we will have to decide which of these is which. So let's decide this is our length, this is our width, and this is our height. Okay, it's up to you which one goes where, your choice. So surface area equals 2 length times width, 15 times 4. Length times height, 15 times 10. Width times height, 4 times 10. And these are all added together. Okay, so let's pull out our calculator. Okay, 15 times 4 is 60. 15 times 10 is 150. 4 times 10 is 40. That's what's inside of these brackets, 2 times all of this. So it's going to be 2 times, let's see, 60, 210, 250. Our surface area of this rectangular prism is 500 inches squared. Okay, so last question, last example for us to do. This one uses some of the skills from earlier in the unit, or not the unit, earlier in the course, and combines it with surface area. So it says Courtney needs to paint the prism below. She buys painting cans that can cover an area of 50 square feet per can. How many cans of paint will she need? If paint costs $11.95 per can, how much will it cost her? All measurements are in feet. So let's write down our formula again. So surface area equals 2 length times width plus length times height plus width times height. Okay, we have to decide which of these is which. I'm going to say this is length, this one is height, and this one will be width. Okay, so let's plug in our numbers here. So surface area equals 2 length times width, 20 times 10. Length times height, 20 times 12. This is plus. Width times height, 10 times 12. Okay, so this is going to be 2 times 200. 20 times 10 is 200. 20 times 12, so plus 240. Plus 10 times 12 is 120. This is going to be 2 times 440, 560. Equals 1,120. And this is in feet squared. So that is the surface area of this prism. But then it asks us how much paint, how many cans of paint is she going to need? So this is the next step. We know 1 can of paint can cover 50 square feet. So we need to see how many cans of paint is it going to take for 1,120 square feet. So that's step 1. Now we're going to do 1,120 square feet divided by 50 square feet to see how many cans of paint is she going to need. That gives us 22.4. Now here's the thing. 22.4, that may be how many cans of paint she's going to need. Let's write our answer. Courtney will need 22.4 cans of paint. But then it wants to know how much is this going to cost her if paint costs $11.95 per can. Now here's the thing. Courtney can't buy 0.4 of a can of paint, so she's going to need to buy 23 cans of paint. This is just one of those critical thinking things, okay? 23 times $11.95 gives us $274.85. So this is how much money she's actually going to spend on paint to cover this prism with paint, which is a relatively large prism, and I will say this is very inexpensive paint. I don't know that I've ever seen a can of paint that costs $11.95 a can. I hope that this video has helped you understand how to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. If you have any questions, please remember to let us know in the Google Classroom. Let us know through email, schedule Google Meets with us, and don't be afraid to ask questions. All right. If you didn't watch Tuesday's video, you're going to want to watch that one before this one. And if you're already getting to this part, you're probably going to want to watch that one and then watch this one again. The quiz will be posted later today. It will test you on these rectangular prisms and the area stuff from Tuesday. And next week, we'll be moving on to some more three-dimensional shapes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to ask questions if you have them, and we'll talk to you next time.